Okay, welcome back to the 3Ls podcast. My name is Gayle Fitzpatrick. I am a business and marketing strategist / coach, and I'm here with Kim, my podcast co-host.
I'm Kim, copywriter and marketeer, and today we want to talk to you a little bit about threads. So, if you haven't heard, if you have not been on Instagram or any social media, I feel like the last couple of weeks, on July 5th, Meta introduced Threads, a new way to share with text. Zuckerberg posted the vision of Threads is to create an open and friendly public space for conversation. We hope to take what Instagram does best and create a new experience around text, ideas, and discussing what's on your mind. It's very easy to sign up. It's basically like he says, it's text, and you can include links, photos, and videos up to 5 minutes. You have to have an Instagram account to join, and it's very easy to join. And it was a booming success because in the first 7 hours, there were 10 million subscribers. And in less than 48 hours, so less than 2 days, 70 million people signed up to Threads.
That blows my mind.
That's insane.
It blows my mind.
Like, even for Meta, that's like,
wow. So Kim told me that stat before we started recording this, and I knew about the 7 hours, the 10 million in 7 hours stat. And she said, 70 million in less than 48 hours, and my face just went, what? Holy, like, that's incredible. That's insane. And I think
just for the comparison, like in the Netherlands we have like 18 million people, so it's insane. It's
well, the really population insane. Of Australia is 26.2 million people.
I know.
So put the Netherlands and Australia together, 3
Australians,
and you've still not even Australias. Got all of the people that are on Threads. It's That's amazing. So just on what you were saying about Zuck's press release around the vision for Threads, I think if you read between the lines, what he's really saying is Elon Musk is messing Twitter up and no one's happy with him right now, so we're going to capitalize on that and try and come in with a new Twitter, basically.
Well, you've been playing around with Threads. Like, do you feel it's the same as Twitter or
well, I was never really a tweeter. I never really got onto Twitter. I've tried and I've dabbled over the years, and I've kind of just gone too hard. Too many platforms, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So I never really got into Twitter, and I was going on Threads for a little while, and then life and work and everything else, and I've just so I haven't been on it for a little while now, but I do think that it's something I will continue with. I just need to figure out what its purpose in my big picture is. And again, we're going to talk about and cover that in a little while as well. So
it's very interesting because I used Twitter a lot when I studied journalism. So I started that in 2009, which is ages ago. But we had to start it because at that time there wasn't. I don't know if Instagram was a thing yet. Facebook was a thing, but Facebook was that's where you talk to your friends and your family, and Twitter was more business and current events. So as aspiring journalists, we had to learn how to write for Twitter because Twitter was 140 characters, I think, at that time. I think now it's 280 or something. But so I followed like all these like individual journalists and these news channels, and then during the Arabic Spring, I was like I was like always on Twitter. But and I thought Thread was going to be the same. It's a lot less curated, I think we can say, about
for now.
Yeah. It's a very interesting the development. I feel like it's what people normally would put on Instagram stories is now written down, and I don't know if it works that well, but I think
I would be interested to see. So 70 million people in less than 48 hours. I'd be interested to see.
Yeah.
The problem with Threads at the moment is we don't have any stats at all.
No.
There's no insight. So we have no context around what's actually happening on there. We know everyone's posting and everyone's going crazy because it's this brand new shiny new tool and object and play thing, but what's it yielding? Now I have seen a couple of people go, you know, oh, I've already made business on this and blah blah blah. I'm not sure if I not believe it, but you know, but
well, maybe we should talk a little bit about how easy it is to use it, because I think that especially like following the same people that you're following on Instagram is very easy.
It is super easy to use. It is very user friendly, very easy to set up. I think Instagram just literally gives you a button in the settings section of your profile and populates your bio, automatically follows people that you were following on Instagram. So on the flip side of that, where people are kind of going, oh, you know, I've got 8,000 followers on Threads in my first 30 minutes. It's not because of anything other than they had those followers on Instagram already, and it's been automated or automatically populated for them. So they're not this big wizard or guru. It is literally an extension, if you like, of your Instagram account. Another thing before I forget, actually, just on that, there are a lot of people that were unaware, and I'm pretty sure there are probably still more that are unaware, that once you've set up your Threads, you cannot delete it without deleting your Instagram account.
I saw something like that. That's very interesting.
Very it's sneaky kind of like by Mr. Zuckerberg there.
Yeah, it's very lock-in. It does for his. It will guarantee users. The question is how active they are then.
Exactly.
I think it's a very interesting thing. Hey.
It's an interesting move. So yes, there is a very clear term and condition that says you cannot delete your Instagram Threads. You cannot delete your Threads profile without fully deleting your Instagram profile as well. I do think you can deactivate it potentially, but you cannot delete it. Okay. But yeah, super easy to use. I think it's what I don't like about Twitter, if I'm honest, is how you can see a tweet and then once it's gone, it's lost forever. And I feel like in Threads, definitely in the early stages before there was 17 million people on there, you could refine things. You could find. I felt like it was a lot easier to navigate than Twitter felt to me. So it's easy to find the people that I want to find. At the moment, we still don't have any, you know, how Instagram has the 3 different feeds. We don't have feeds, so you can't kind of just have people in your feed that you're following specifically. So you are getting a lot of random things thrown in there. But yeah, overall, I think it's had a strong start. It's not something that I've written off. I just haven't had the time to go back to it at the moment, but it's definitely not something that I've written off yet. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
I also read that Instagram or Meta, Facebook, whatever, is saying how it's created for the Instagram creator. So it's not actually created to convert Twitter users or anything.
Well, that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. Yeah. But I think it is kind of interesting because I do feel like Instagram has had a lot of pushback on changing the algorithm, pushing videos, all that stuff. And here it does allow a platform that's a little less, like we said earlier, curated. You can just put a random thought there and that's your post. But is that the way to go?
I was going to say, you can put a random thought there, but please don't. So I feel like that's what's lacking with Threads at the moment, because we don't know we don't have full transparency over how it's working and who, you know, how people are being shown and all that kind of stuff. Everyone's just treating it as a free-for-all. and they've kind of gone in and they're going to, oh yeah, freedom, I'm going to do everything and anything, and it, you know, it doesn't matter because it's Threads, it's new. But we can't abandon our strategies. It's an extension of your brand. It's not a completely new, you know, especially if you're using it for a company or a personal brand or anything like that. If you're just on there for shits and giggles, then go for your life. But if you have an actual business and you are, you know, you're using it to reach clients or potential customers, you cannot just be on there as a free-for-all. You have to have some strategy behind it. So I think that's where a lot of people are going.
I agree. It reminds me, some of the messages that I've seen on there so far, it reminds me a little bit of you know, the early days of Facebook, when people were just like putting random stuff, not really thinking like, oh, it's gonna be on here for fucking ever. Like, oh, I ate this tonight, or
not even
random person on the bus.
It's not even I ate, it's Gayle ate tomatoes for the first time in 3 days. We always spoken like third person or whatever. I look back at some of my memories now and I think, oh, why were people hanging out with me? I was so weird.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I had this whole thing that I thought was very funny on my Twitter that was called like hashtag train tweets. So it was basically because I spent 2 hours one way. So I spent like 4 hours a day in the train.
Wow.
So I thought, I'm just going to put something random that I see in public transport, you know, something that I pick up, something like conversation or something. No one replied to it. It's just, I thought that was funny. But that's kind of like what I thought of when I was like playing around with Threads. I was like, okay, this is not, I don't know if it's like, it doesn't give me any like really added value compared to Instagram, for example, because I feel like the posts that are interesting, that are, you know, with information that I follow people for, they also put it on Instagram. So why would I, you know?
And it's gotten a little bit like that. I'm all for repurposing content, but repurpose, the word itself says purpose. Like it has to have a purpose. And you know, I've seen that a lot too, like people are posting on Threads and then just resharing it on Instagram. So the two platforms have an individual purpose that can complement each other for sure. But if all you're going to be doing is just sharing, the same way as you've automatically set it to share all your Instagram stories to Facebook stories, then it's not it's not the most effective use of the platform.
No, it's kind of interesting. It is interesting to see how that will grow, I guess. And we touched on it a bit already, the repurposing of the content. Like, are we going to create new posts, or are we going to, like, you know,
do we have any originality? You know, there's no originality anymore. Everyone, and I think as well, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, that's fine.
Well, you said something before about you know, when Facebook first started, Facebook was for personal and Twitter was for business. And it's the same with LinkedIn. If we're going to be looking at, you know, social media as a whole for a second, LinkedIn used to be just business. Now it seems like the lines between all of these social media platforms have become completely blurred, and we're just literally we're creating for Instagram because that's our biggest dopamine hit, because that's where we get our biggest likes, and we've got all of our followers and friends, and then we're just throwing that up on Instagram. We're just we're just throwing that up on LinkedIn, and we're just going to put it on Facebook as well. There's no thought put behind, okay, what is the differences between the audiences using these platforms? Because they're very different, very different. So they need different approaches. You can use the same graphics, but you can't use the same captions all across the board. You've got to tweak it. You've got to adapt it specifically for the platform that you're posting it in. And Threads is no different. Threads is no different whatsoever. So
yeah, we haven't really found, because it launched like 15 days ago.
Is that all? It's just been over 2 weeks. Wow, it feels like it's been here for at least a month.
No, I looked it up, and on the Instagram website, it's July 5th is when they introduced Threads.
Oh wow, okay,
So just for people who are watching this when we're not recording this, today is July 21st. So it's so we don't really know the purpose of threads yet. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg is saying like it's for conversation, which means it's highly engaging. So it also means, in my opinion, I think you'll share this, is if you post something and if you get a response, it is the most important platform probably to respond to quickly and
have a conversation.
Yeah, have a conversation. Like if he's saying that in his like opening statement, that is maybe that is something that the algorithm will reward, like the actual conversations, the actual interaction between users. Which is kind of smart, because I think that's why people would come back to a social media platform anyway, right? Like the interaction.
The whole objective of social media, and especially with Meta, they put a big, strong focus on time spent in app. So is your content keeping people on the app? If it is, they're going to show it more. If it's not, they're not. They want people to stay on the app as much as they can get them to stay on the app. So if you're contributing to that by having those conversations, by engaging, by responding, then yes, you're going to see some results.
Yeah. It is interesting because we're just both agreeing. Look, we don't. It just came out. No one is an expert yet. Yet there are still already people who are saying, "I am an expert on threads. Buy my course, and I'll teach you the algorithm that I beat." I'm just gonna like get some popcorn and let you.
Can we swear on this podcast? Are we allowed to swear?
I think we can. Yeah, I think we can. In moderation. I'll just like beep you.
Okay, well, I tell you what, for the listeners, just buckle up. Fuck off. Seriously. Right, so I got a quote up before, and it's a famous quote, and it's by Bruce Lee. And it says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." And there's an extension to that, I think it was the Buddha, not the Buddha, the Dalai Lama, I think potentially said something along the lines of, you are not a master until you have failed at something, X amount of times, or whatever it might be. I'm paraphrasing massively now, but essentially that quote came to mind instantly when you said that to me, because how can you be an expert at anything that has only been existing for 2 weeks when the people that created it don't even understand how it works yet? They don't even know how it's going to evolve. I think for people to come out, and this my strong reaction to this comes from a deep-rooted annoyance at the emergence of so many gurus recently, who are basically devaluing and just crapping all over the marketing industry and what we do. And it's gotten to the point where people don't take us seriously anymore, because you've got these people coming out and going, "Oh, I'm going to sell you a course on threads because I've got 80,000 followers." You've got 80,000 followers because you've got 80,000 followers on Instagram. You did nothing to gain those followers. There is no strategy behind what you've done to gain those followers whatsoever.
So if you let's just say if you bought the followers on Instagram, that would be a very interesting thing as well. Like,
we're on a slippery slope here, Kim. We're on a slippery slope.
I know.
You're gonna send me into a rage.
We'll save this for another topic, and then we'll get popcorn.
but no, you can't. I think for me, instantly, if anyone, I mean, even on Instagram, people that are saying, "I'm an expert in this and I'm going to sell you a course," there's things that I will look at before I even consider their actual genuine expertise. But anyone on threads who's trying to sell me a course or trying to instruct me on how to use this platform in the best way for my business and my goals, they're selling something so generic as it is already problematic, because how can you sell something like that to everyone and promise the same results for everyone? That's unrealistic. But anyone that's kind of out there saying, and I hope you're listening, and I hope you give your head a shake and question your life choices, because if you're sitting there saying, "I'm an expert in threads, I've got this course," you've got problems because you don't understand marketing at all in that case. What you're doing is you're capitalizing on a hot topic, and you're hoping something sticks, and you're ripping people off. You're going to piss them off, which is then going to further damage their relationship with marketers, so that when someone genuine does come along who can genuinely help them, they're not going to trust them. So anyone that's trying to sell a Threads course, I can't fully, I think I will get banned if I actually say what I want to say to you. Just give
maybe we should make it positive. So if you are watching and you are considering buying a Threads course,
don't.
Please really don't.
Just don't.
And if you really want to, like, do it like in a few years.
And not in that like money
days after launch.
Use that money that you've got to invest. You clearly have some money to invest in your business and your marketing. Invest it in much better, much more productive, much more revenue generating places that are actually going to help your business, rather than it just being one of those courses. Because I know I've done it, you've probably done it, and people that are listening to this have probably done it many times. How many people have signed up to a course because they were sold, a shiny dream, only to be kind of left really deflated afterwards and thought, oh, I wish. And how many times have we done that? And how much money have we wasted on those courses? And these Threads courses, they're just going to end up in that same pile. So save your money. Do not go there. It's and if you are selling those courses, honestly, just have a little think about, even if you are a marketing expert, to be selling a Threads course right now, really have a think about where that sits on the integrity line. Because I don't think it's very integral to be selling and peddling courses in Threads right now.
No, I agree. And if you are talking about it in like a coaching context, and you're really side by side with your client, looking at the threads, trying things, I think that's fine. That's what being a marketing expert is. Like, marketing is trying and experimenting. But saying that you've cracked the code basically is just not not realistic.
Let me put it into perspective for the people that are listening with anyone. And I'm going to go wider than Threads here. I'm going to talk about the social media stratosphere as a whole. Anyone that says to you that they've cracked the algorithm, first of all, there is not just one algorithm. There are thousands. There are thousands of different ranking factors that determine how your content is ranked. So anyone that says they've cracked an algorithm is someone that you should be put in at arm's length straight away to begin with anyway. But I just want to say, head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, and if you do want to learn about this stuff and you're not following him already, I would highly recommend it. But head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, even he has come out and said, I don't know how these algorithms work, because it's all machine learning. It's machine learning, so it's not documented. There's not a step-by-step process that is followed. It's completely fluid. It's always changing. It changes from minute to minute, not even day to day. So anyone that says they've hacked an algorithm needs to be, you need to cross the road and avoid them at all costs, because they're full of it. They can guide you on how to navigate what we potentially think the algorithms want and need. Like you said, Kim, about, side-by-side one-on-one coaching, testing and optimizing, always adapting.
To try and explain. But I think you're frozen.
But if you
are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you there?
Oh, I missed a whole bit.
That's okay.
Okay.
I was just saying, like you were saying about the one-on-one coaching, if there's someone that's sitting by you, walking through that process with you, testing and optimizing, adapting, hypothesizing on what the algorithm might want to see based on insights and data, great. We can work with that. But generic algorithm hacks, when it's 2023, we're not doing that anymore. So
no.
Say goodbye.
Okay, I kind of want to wrap this topic up a little bit, because I think we're a little bit at the end. So I wanted to share my opinion on Threads. I'm a writer, which means, I don't know what that means, but if that everyone is like that, but I am a behind the scenes kind of girl. I don't really like to show my face. I'm super awkward on stories. I don't enjoy doing stories. So for me, like a platform that I can actually just write and not think about all the nice little graphics, or I'm quite happy with trying it out. I don't have a lot of followers yet. Also because I'm very picky of who I wanted to follow in there. So I haven't done like follow all kind of thing. But I kind of I enjoy figuring this out and reading a lot. But what's your opinion on that? Because you're the social media marketing expert between us. Like, do you think people should go on Threads?
Okay.
Threads.
I have 3 points.
Yeah.
I have 3 points to make on this. I don't think everyone should be on Threads. To answer your question really simply, but I'm going to elaborate on why. You will be hearing a lot of, and I will hold my hand up. Like, I'm a very honest person. I think I said this to you, Kim, about early adoption, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be hearing a lot of, and you'll be getting bombarded with messages around be an early adopter. Well, I'm sorry, but 70 million people have already joined it. You're not an early adopter anymore. So you've missed that boat. But you'll be bombarded with these messages about be an early adopter, jump on it now. That's kind of exhausting. What you need to be thinking is, are you joining this platform for the sake of it, or does it have a purpose in your strategy? And if you're just joining this to because everyone's telling you should do, then you're probably going to hinder your progress rather than help it. So if you're thinking of if you're questioning, maybe you've already joined but you're kind of questioning, should I be continuing with it, I want you to consider a couple of things. Is your audience on there? Your core audience, the audience that is actually contributing or has potential to contribute to your bottom line, are they on there? Can you reach them via that platform? Is the platform going to be a good use of your time in that case? Because if you're reaching your audience on that platform, then you probably can be confident that you're going to be producing some sort of ROI. Because ROI is not always just what's the return on your investment, money spent, because you also ROI is also what's your return on investments, time spent. So if you think about what your hourly rate is, and you're spending 5 hours on Threads a week, if your hourly rate's $100 and you're spending 5 hours, that's $500. Are you getting that $500 back from this platform? So how productive is it to be spending your time on there? The second point is, do you have the capacity to be taking on another platform and to be doing it well, not just doing it for the sake of doing it? Like we talked about before, if all you're going to do is repurpose between all the platforms, that's not doing it well as far as I'm concerned. There's no strategy behind that again. So what you want to make sure is that if you're going to be taking on Threads and you're going to be making Threads part of your strategy, then you want to make sure that it's not impacting on the other parts of your strategy that are established and are making revenue. Again, bringing it back to revenue, making revenue for your business. If you've been on there, you've decided it's not for you, you've got to think about an exit strategy. A lot of people did this with Twitter, actually, and this is where I learned about this back in the day. If you have an account, it's not for you, and then you just kind of abandon it, it doesn't look very good from a brand perspective. So have an exit strategy. Put something up there, pin it to the top if you can, to say, we tried this, we decided it's not for us. Follow us on Instagram. Send them back to where you are going to be active.
And especially if you can delete it, then that's then that's really important.
I think an exit strategy is something that you have to bear in mind. If you are going to be abandoning Threads, you've tried it, it's not for you, make sure that your people know that you haven't just disappeared, and leave them wondering what's happened to your brand. Be very specific about why you were no longer active on that platform. The last point excuse me, the last point is that if you have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those kind of things, TikTok, if you are not making money from the followers that you already have, why are you chasing more followers on Threads? You've got to learn how to execute a revenue generating strategy on social media with the audience that you have before you start expanding on that. Because if you can't generate money from your social media and you're a business, you're on there for business purposes, then you've got a problem. Why are you then adding to that and compounding that pressure on by adding another platform in? People are chasing followers, not chasing customers. You need to be chasing customers. And I feel like a lot of people will have jumped on Threads because it's another platform to say, I've got X amount of followers. Your followers don't mean anything if they're not buying from you. So learn how to monetize the followers that you have before you start adding to them on another platform. And this all boils down to strategy. Strategy. If you do not have a strategy, don't use it. If you do not have if you're using it and you don't have a strategy, stop for a second and think about what purpose this plays in the bigger picture of your business. Now, Kim and you and I had a conversation when you approached me and you said, should I be on Threads? And I said to you, I don't think it's a conversion tool. I think it's a top of funnel tool. I think it's a personal brand tool. But that doesn't mean, like I said before,
it's to have that conversation.
It's to start, it's to move people to the revenue generating platform for you. It's a part of the customer journey. It's not the customer journey is in its entirety. So figure out where does this fit in my customer journey, and then use it to in a way that is specific and appropriate for that stage of the buying cycle.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, I have one little topic of advice as well from my end, and that is you cannot edit the messages. So from a copywriter, make sure that when you press send or post, whatever the call to action is, make sure it's what you want to write, because you either be deleting it or it will be out there forever.
Or don't, and let autocorrect decide your fate, because the rest of us will get a lot of humor out of it. So
that's true. It depends on the mistake, but that's true. Okay, I think that's all for us right now on Threads. We're very interesting to see what it does, where it is in like even just 3 months from now. I was gonna say a year, but even just 3 months from now.
I mean, if it can grow that much in 48 hours, I think that again, not wanting to kind of bring this conversation up again because we're trying to wrap it up, but I think Zuckerberg said once it reaches a certain number of users, they will then start to look at advertising and monetizing and all that kind of stuff. And 70 million was not far off that number from what I can gather. So, even within the next month, I imagine we're going to see a lot of changes on Threads, to be honest. But it's still not long enough for people to be able to sell you a course that's going to actually work.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your opinion, Gayle. And
thanks for letting me rant, everyone.
And to everyone listening, thank you so much for listening. And
tune in for the next episode. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.